Alright, so today we will be doing What If Civilization Started Over. So, last time, World War One started, but I made a few maps in the meantime for this episode. And all of them are very important. So first we have a population map. So black to white is just not populated to regularly populated, and then lime to I think blue, lime to cyan is kind of like majorly populated. Then I think blue to orange is overpopulated. And then the blue color that we see like right here, like this blue color is it's just no one claims this land. But we have more maps. Trust. So after that map, we have a terrain map. Yep. So this is like normal Greenland. This is like desert, mountains, frozen mountains, just frozen. The orange is super volcanoes. And then the tiny red dots are just normal major volcanoes. This super light gray is, what is it called? That is a frozen jungle. Dark green, you probably guessed already, but it's a jungle. Also, we have a new continent. So if we do get there, then we might see some colonization on that continent. Alright, but now the next map, which is just the normal heat map. So we see deserts are starting to finally become hot. Also, Russia is not supposed to have this right here. Alright, it's fixed, but I'll make Russia's capital that. Alright. Yeah, it's this. Alright, so first we will see that Kenya will start pushing up into this country before going directly to the border. So they instantly destroy this country basically before this country will just fully surrender. Wow, we see this country being I don't know why this is being weird. But we see this country being blitzed through by the Kenyan Empire. And then we see a invasion into Egypt. And the Kenyan Empire is kind of cooking. Hold up, who let Kenya cook? Oh wait, I did. We see one of the larger cities being captured right here, and the country starts to collapse. So we see that these guys will go in and just occupy the entire country. And they actually managed to push back Kenya in a remarkable victory, but yeah, the green team shouldn't have joined this war. They're about to get jumped. They're just gonna get jumped by everyone. So now we end up seeing that these guys are jumped. And Iberia is kind of just shocked, so they end up arriving late, but they managed to take this land the fastest out of all of these countries. Here we see that the Turkish Union will actually be pushed back as Yemen is kind of lost. But was not lost. Yup. These guys, they're getting obliterated officially by the official Wixo and not just in the diplomacy war. Now we see rebellion showing up here. We see rebellions popping up throughout the entire country. Too close. We see a revolution force starting, which quickly gains traction. While we see a democratic force appearing up here, and we see a communist force appearing over here, and it quickly takes a major city. Well, these guys end up uniting with these guys to Oman just got liberated, and then India will end up just splitting through, occupying all their islands. So Oman is not chilling, bro. But we will see the Turkish Union will actually manage to push into the Caspian Island country, having remarkable victories as Kenyan forces have not arrived yet. But we will see a slight struggle in Persia because of India. Now, let me see. I'm gonna have this open. But, yeah, I don't think that Thailand is gonna be chilling. Oh wait, they're on their side. But we see China will quickly use their colony to capture the capital and take the southern parts of the country before they just fully occupy Thailand. While these guys are just gonna get jumped. They never stood a chance, bro. Yeah, they aren't chilling at all. Naval invasions fully taking on there, but up here we end up seeing that some parts of this lake tribe country will end up connecting together, forming a western path before this part before it does. But this country is kind of just like a horde. They don't really have a government. It's just a bunch of tribes working together. So they are probably the weakest country, even weaker than the blue team or the old Sweden country. But over here in Africa, we end up seeing that the red team is now finally kicked out. But Kenya is not stopping there as they full on just continue pushing against these guys. Until we see that Kenya will now push into the red team's colony. So the red team will end up transferring the occupation of their colony to Egypt. But yeah, Greece is about to get jumped. We see Greece being blitzed from all sides. So yeah, Greece thought that everyone around them was gonna join the war on their side. But yeah, it wasn't really the best time to be a Greek. The government kind of just fumbled. So we see Greece being likely the first country to collapse. But over here we end up seeing that Russia's puppet state will actually end up rebelling. Ooh, I like this color. And it's totally not because my favorite color is red. But we see that Russia's puppet state ends up declaring independence, and now Russia's just panicking as their puppet state even joins the war. So now Russia's kind of gonna collapse as they're just invaded from all sides. Even Poland is getting in. Poland will be the first country to reach the gates of Russia's capital city. But if we look here, we see Russia's actual best city is right there. Which we see Crimea will focus on taking this city, pushing up towards it, but Russia will manage to defend until here, when the battle of whatever this city's name is will begin, but Russia will manage to win, pushing back Crimea. We see that Poland will capture these two cities, and it's not just Poland, it's like all of Europe. And then the blue team is probably just waiting to see which side is winning. Being captured until, yeah, until we see that Russia's allies will panic and move in and just occupy like a lot of this country, which but we see that Russia's capital is captured. This northern half will end up rebelling. And now, yeah, they're not gonna really have a fun time. But we see the Turkish Union will occupy that area while trying to negotiate to get these guys to leave the war. Because without these three, then the Turkish Union can focus on India, Kenya, and aiding all of Africa. But we see red team forces in Australia will end up going here and will actually do an invasion on Kenya's colony. And they managed to be the first successful ones of taking a country's colonies. But yeah, these guys are gonna get jumped. They're not having a fun time. that they're invaded from up here, and this Borneo country will also invade, but they're less successful since they're still just a bunch of tribes. And we see that the tribes are the major problem. The actual country that our countries are able to just invade the tribes easily. So we see Indonesia will manage to push into these tribes. That's not supposed to happen. But we end up seeing this tribe country will end up winning these like tribal battles over here, managing to occupy this. But where they are not so successful is right here, where they lose one of their major cities, and then they end up losing this entire island somehow, despite occupying basically the entire thing. But guys, guess what will happen right here? Guess what? If you guess that China will end up doing an island hopping campaign, then you're right. Now, Indonesia is not having a fun time, and in South America, we see not so fun stuff. We see that these guys split through this northern half, while the Chinese and Kenyans will end up trying to occupy this thing. So we see China blitzing through, occupying basically the entire thing. While Chinese forces will end up struggling a bit in Red Team Colombia, they are still gonna push in, along with these guys, I guess. But since these guys are some of the weakest countries, but they're still slightly stronger than the Lake tribe, we see that Iberia and the red team will end up working together to just blitz through here until the red team will try to focus on getting these guys out of the war. This maroon team will focus on invading into this Atlantis country from the east. We see them doing multiple island hopping campaigns, and they managed to take the Strait of South Atlantis before this country would just end up surrendering. But their South American stuff will still continue to fight. But over here we see Kenyan forces will finally break a stalemate. And this is not just because Kenya's weak, this is just because of the pure numbers. But we see Kenya ends up managing to just go in and destroy this country from the inside out. which is a major victory. As this is a major victory, as this allows Kenya to end up pushing into even start to, I guess, unliberate this green team. So they start to unliberate this green team. And yeah, Libya's not having the best time, as Libya has continued to be blitzed before the capital is threatened, and it looks like Libya manages to push back Kenya, but just like hours later, Kenyan forces end up storming around and just destroy the entire capital. They capture the Libyan leader and drag the Libyan leader all the way to Kenya's capital before beheading him in front of a crowd. So not so friendly. But now we can truly see Kenya's power in Africa, as they are occupying basically the entire thing. As for Europe, we will probably see these guys being continued to be pushed back, mostly by Turkish forces, as they just refuse to negotiate for some reason, and they aren't really strong, especially Korea is not helping them at all. Korea is entirely focusing on helping China. We see that the Turkish forces will manage to blitz across this country before now entering the Caspian Island country from the south. We see them taking this, and now, now they are gonna threaten the capital, but Caspia's navy is pretty good in the Caspian Sea, so we end up seeing that Caspia will defend. But guess who's not gonna be able to do it? Vastly spread out their troops are, and they will even be almost pushed out and kicked out of the entire country, which becomes a really big problem that they should probably solve soon. Maybe by getting this country to attack these guys, even though it wouldn't go well for them. So next we probably will see that Red Team explorers, while checking for Chinese forces, will end up discovering a ton of islands before landing on what they think is like right over here in Australia. They continue expanding or exploring. Until they end up just discovering that they are just in. Yeah. What is doing that? I don't know what's doing that. But we see the red team will end up making a colony over here. But they try to stay away from all the mountainous areas. As if we look here, the red team really doesn't want to go near this giant just mountain in the middle of nowhere that is like glowing at the top. So we see red team forces will end up just exploring around here, going along on here before they see another one like that, and then they just go back. So the red team is kind of like scared, I guess. up just retreating, as this is just a bloodbath. Like, what's happening over here is just pure death and genocide. Now we end up seeing the red team will end up retreating to the thinnest part of Panama before just continuing to fight the war navally in the Caribbean Sea, and then the I think East Caribbean Ocean, I guess. So this will probably be the end of today's video. I don't see anything else I should update. But yeah. Wait, what side is that country on? What side is South China on? Oh yeah, I don't think I colored them in, but let's just say they're not in the war. I guess no more of this video. We will see you next time. Like and subscribe and stuff, and yeah, and cool stuff. Oh yeah, we almost forgot about this. Yeah, it doesn't really exist anymore, I think. Since Russia collapsed. Likely... It's pretty likely that they are just invaded here. And yeah. So, we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe and stuff, and yeah. Make sure to leave a like and stuff, and yep. Yup.